right. Allison, why don't you start?
Okay. Hi, welcome to the new members session for the EEAI 2020 conference. Ann and I did this together last year, and we enjoyed getting to see so many new faces. I'm sorry we can't see you all in person. We had some activities that were really only conducive to in-person things last year, but this will be fairly short and sweet. We just want to orient you to EEAI and start with introductions. So my name's Allison Zeidel. I'm on the board and have been a member of EEAI probably approaching 10 years maybe, and am the former director of an environmental education center, but the current resiliency coordinator for Earth Charter Indiana for Richmond, and also a nonprofit consultant. So I work with foundations and nonprofits in the area. So, Ann?
All right. Well, welcome everyone. My camera is down in the lower corner of my screen. So for me to see the screen, I keep looking up, but really I am looking at you guys. My name's Ann Neednagel. I'm the former president of EEAI, and I can't remember how many years I've been involved, more than 14. So I'm not sure. I volunteer as outdoor Ann, going into public schools and some preschools and just helping teachers get kids outside. I also serve on the Indiana Children and Nature Network Committee, which is a project of EEAI. I've helped with the environmental literacy guidelines, another project of EEAI, and I serve on the Waycross Camp and Conference Center board. So a lot of volunteer stuff. But actually, I have just finished serving on the board for the past 6 years. So I'm no longer on the board, but I'm really, really excited to be here. And I'm very sad that the conference is online, but it's been fun so far. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what this new virtual seems like. Stephanie, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so hi everybody. I am Stephanie Shook, and I'm the current president of the Environmental Education Association of Indiana. In my other life, I'm a restoration ecologist at Marian University in Indianapolis. I've been involved with EEAI for several years, not as long as Ann, but several years, and she was one of the first people that I knew in EEAI, and probably one of the reasons I stayed too. So
Yay.
I love this organization. They are my people, and this is one of my most favorite things to do every year. And so I'm sad that we can't be together, but I'm really happy that we can at least do these sorts of things. And I agree, and I think it's fun. We weren't quite sure how do you do this networking, this conference that's so social on a screen, but I think so far so good. And I've been involved with ICANN as well, the Indiana Children and Nature Network, and that's probably about it.
So I think we're going to go ahead. We'd like to hear about you guys and whether you're new to EEAI or not, and where you're from, what you're doing. And then we're going to kind of tell you what the conference used to be like a little bit. And then we're going to go through, what was it? The next is the website. Is that right?
Yeah, where to find resources on the website and what kinds of things you can see there.
Yeah. So as Allison asked me to speak, and then I asked Stephanie to speak, our screens all look differently. If you would, I'm going to call on someone and say, please introduce yourself. But then when you're finished introducing yourself, look at the screen and pick a name of someone you know or don't know and ask them to introduce themselves. And then that way we'll get through everyone. So with that, I'm going to ask Bethany to tell us about her.
Hi, I'm Bethany Friesen, and I work with a nonprofit in Indianapolis called Dat House Incorporated. And we've done a variety of community programs, and we run a community center. We've done an after-school program at our local public school for several years, like 6 years. But then because of COVID, we weren't able to come into the school this year. And I was like, okay, well, I'm the children's programming director, so what am I going to do? So we started like an alternative education program, essentially, where I've recently moved to a house that sits on 1.7 acres. It's still inside the Indy Circle, but it's this like pocket farming community. So I have a group of kids ages 4 to 7 that come out to my home from the inner city for like a homeschool hybrid program, and that's brand new. So I'm just learning about this outdoor education thing, but I know it's good for kids, and so that's it. I'm brand new.
Well, welcome, Bethany, and
Welcome.
you are in the right place. I think you're going to walk away with resources or just connections. And I'm curious, I live in Indianapolis too. What area, what side of town are you?
I'm on the southeast side.
Okay.
If you know of Waterman's Farm out
Yes.
on Raymond Street,
Yes.
okay, we're right by there.
Okay. Lucky you. Nice area.
Well, no kidding. So I'm on the southeast side too. I'm on Brookville and Post pretty much.
Oh, okay.
And I have almost 2 acres. So
Awesome.
pretty similar. Cool. We'll have to visit each other.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So I need to call in somebody. Sarah Wolf.
Hey everybody, my name's Sarah Wolf. I'm on the board also, so I'm not new to EEAI. I can't remember how long I have been a EEAI member, but I'm on the board because Anne kept asking me to be on the board, and I'm the secretary. So if you get those monthly newsletters, I compile those and send those out. So for my normal job, I'm the senior park naturalist for Hendricks County Parks, located just west of Indianapolis. And I'm in charge of all the nature programs and things there. And I have up to 5 staff in the summertime. And right now I have a sleeping puppy on my lap because that's what I do as one of my side gigs outside of my job to pay off my house quicker. So that's me. I'm so glad all of you are here. So glad to see some familiar and new faces. And how about Elena?
Hi. I'm kind of the odd one out because I am from Minnesota. I live in Minneapolis. I am part of a outdoor education cohort with Indiana and Minnesota. Bethany and I are in that together, and they said they're doing this conference through Indiana and it's virtual. Who wants to go? And I said, I'll join. Why not? I have an outdoor education degree from the University of Minnesota Duluth. And then I went back to school to get my early childhood teaching license. So currently I teach preschool, and I wanted to make it as outdoor as possible. So we have, a very concrete courtyard with some weeds and dirt, and that's our classroom. And we're making the best of it with COVID. We're full in person in preschool, but like my son is hybrid, so he's 2 days a week. And but I saw this opportunity to learn more about teaching outside, and I raised my hand. So here I am. So thanks for having me.
Welcome.
Welcome. I hope you get a lot from it. Would you call on someone to go next?
Yes. How about Allison? Oh, no, you went. There's 2 Allisons there. Yes.
Cool. I'll go by Allie. I don't know how to change my name on this thing, but that's my name. My name is Allie Munger. I'm happy to be here. I live in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I am the wetland educator for Little River Wetlands Project. Really cool nonprofit. If it weren't for Eagle Marsh, I probably wouldn't be in this role, which is kind of cool. My bachelor's degree is in art therapy from the University of St. Francis in Fort Wayne. And then, I don't know, I'll just tell just a tiny little story. When I was drawing out at Eagle Marsh one time, someone came up to me and we were talking about natural spaces in the area. And I don't know, I'd never heard of one that she had mentioned, which was Mary Lee Environmental Learning Center of Goshen College. It's a mouthful, but a lot of you probably are familiar with it. But I ended up going there and really enjoyed my time there. So that it was pretty cool that the fact that, you know, I learned about Mary Lee, learning that they had a graduate program. So I got my master's in environmental education from there. And then I moved to Texas for a couple years and was an eco art educator because I have a passion for integrating art into environmental education. So when I was hired at Little River Wetlands Project in February last year, eventually, maybe one day we hope to integrate art. We were hoping to do that this year, but you know, everything got thrown for a loop. But yeah, so currently we are trying to do as many programs, which it's kind of on a case-by-case basis. So it's like, we will do whatever you want us to do. If you want us to, you know, do a virtual program, that's fine. If you want to talk on the phone, that's cool too. If you want me to send you some videos, I'll come in. Do you want to come out here? Anything, please give me something to do is kind of what we're doing right now. But it's been really fun. And I'm really happy to be here. So yeah. Oh yeah, and I'm not sure who else I'm supposed to call on. Carla, have you? You go.
I'm the chair for the conference and glad to be here. I started coming to these conferences about 7 years ago, I think. I had done the Indiana Master Naturalist program and kind of transitioned more from traditional education to more environmental education. And I do a variety of things. I do research in environmental education and do a lot with early childhood and outdoor classrooms and risky play and loose parts. And I have a podcast called Loose Parts Major Play, just trying to help connect educators and families with solutions to help them get outside more, I guess. But I do have a question for you all. So what's this cohort that you all are doing, Bethany and was it Allie? No, not Allie. Elena. Is this with Joe Towns?
Bethany, do you know how it started? Because it was, I just jumped in because it was someone I had known, and she's like, "You need to do this," and I said, "Okay." So, you want to share a little more about it?
Sure. So I know Joe Pounds going way back. Actually, when I was in high school, he was my teacher my senior year, and I am now 32. So, and he's always had a passion for alternative education and how, and really like figuring out the best processes and environments for children and education. And so I honestly don't know exactly how he got it started because, again, it's something where we've kept in touch and he's kept up and visited me. And the last time we contacted each other and I let him know what I was doing down here now, he was like, "Oh, I'd really like you to be a part of this cohort." So I'm not sure exactly how it got started, but it is a group of teachers and administrators in northern Indiana and Minnesota that are just learning together on this journey about outdoor education specifically. That's all I got. He works with the DECO Foundation.
Yeah, I know
And
Joe.
it's preschool to all the way. I think there's even some middle school teachers too. So it's a huge range. It's public schools, private schools, charter schools, and it's just a whole big group. I don't know where it came from, but I was like, this is cool. We meet once a month for an hour and a half. So
Cool. I think that's great. And we do have some options, especially for early childhood, for continuing conversations after this conference as well, that we'll talk about in the early childhood track as well. So I need to choose someone. Teresa, I roped you into this conference. So if you want to share, you can tell us who you are.
I came in late. Could you tell me what I'm supposed to share?
Just like who you are, what you do, why you're here, that kind of stuff, I guess.
It's not letting me show my picture. So sorry. I'm trying to, but it's not letting me. I joined the organization one because I was helping with doing a presentation, but actually I last year we were planning to attend the conference and something came up, so we weren't able to make it last year. And I say we, meaning those in my at my school. So, and I think as far as I know, I'm the only one from my school here. But I'm at Nature's Point Cooperative Preschool in Noblesville, Indiana, which is a nature-based preschool. And we have been doing nature-based education for probably, well, we all along some form or fashion, but more dived more into it within the past 5 or 6 years, I'd say. So, yeah. Is that what I'm supposed to say or share?
Perfect.
Okay.
Now, since you don't have a screen, I don't know if you can see that. I think Susan is the last one to go. So maybe.
No, I can't. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Susan, you want to go ahead? Nope. Susan, we can't hear you. You might be muted. We can come back to Susan a little bit later. Okay, so, and then Jen is kind of bouncing in and out. Jen is, Jen is in the car. Jen, I don't want you to have to look elsewhere, but Jen has been a member of the board. If you feel like you are able to safely unmute and say something, you're welcome to, but I don't want you to crash, so.
Here.
Looks like she's muted.
I can unmute.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, how's it going? This is my life right now. So I'm currently in Texas, delivering some groceries. Texas Outdoor Ed Center coordinator for the Camp El Tesoro, but I've been laid off since the end of March, and so I'm super excited about seeing all these lovely faces and people and all that fun stuff.
And we need Jen back in Indiana. So if you have jobs in your area related to environmental education, send them her way. We need her back.
Please, I'm ready to be back. It's odd to say that I miss Indiana, but I miss Indiana.
Yeah. All right, Susan, I don't know if you've had trouble. It looks like you rejoined. Can you hear us now?
Yep, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, great. Yeah, you want to introduce yourself and tell us your connection to environmental education?
Oh, hi. I'm Susan Dish, and I've just been interested in environmental ed for the last 30 years and have worked with soil and water and park systems, and I've been a teacher and everything. And I have a friend of mine here. And I'm from Elkhart, and she's from Fort Wayne. You want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Liz Hinks. I'm from Fort Wayne. Been involved, retired elementary teacher, and then taught on the marsh and taught at the zoo.
Great. Thank
You guys, Susan and Liz, you've been to previous conferences, haven't you?
We have.
Forever.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was like, I know you guys.
Yeah, you should know us.
Yeah. Oh, this is good.
Yeah.
Well, thanks everyone for introducing yourselves. In a minute, I'm going to have Allison share the screen to kind of share more of the resources of EEAI. I just wanted to take a moment to talk about what the conference is like when it's in person. People are getting together and they normally haven't seen each other in a year. And it turns out to be kind of a really neat reunion because over the 3 days of spending this time together, it's very casual. We have campfires. It's very campy. We're singing. It's really a low-key conference. And you end up building friendships like you would at summer camp or some other experience. And so when we get back to see each other after so many years, it's like, oh my good, or not so many years, but just after 12 months, it's generally you walk away feeling filled, because a lot of us work in circumstances where we're the only person doing what we do, and there's no other peers. There's other people you work with, but they don't get what you're doing. And when you come together at the conference, these people are also working in isolation, and they do understand what you're going through and have had to deal with. So it's a wonderful opportunity just for networking and checking in with people. I do not have a background in science. I'm a former middle school teacher, and I taught social studies, but my passion was always getting children outside. And the entire EEAI community embraced me, and through Project Learning Tree, Project WET, Project Wild, and all those things, and that's a nice view.
Sorry. The dog
No,
likes
it's good. It is all good.
limelight.
Yeah. For those of you that don't have a screen with all the pictures on it, there's a little dog, or a big dog. Anyway, more dogs. Anyway, I was just saying, it's that kind of casual atmosphere that makes this conference pretty darn special. You don't have to have your guard up. You can just be who you want to be. And I remember, Allison, when we did this last year, even though I've been a member of this organization for a really long time, I didn't realize that a majority of environmental educators are more introverts and introverted than they are extroverts. Now, I tend to consider myself more extroverted, and I was just always so excited to see these people. I would go out and say hi and come join the board, obviously. And I would reach out a lot, and I guess I didn't notice they weren't reaching out so much. So if you do find yourself a little introverted, it's really good if you're in another chat, just to ask a person where they work or where they're from. And boy, everybody loves to talk about that, and they have so much to share. So it's don't ever hesitate to ask, because this group might be a little introverted, and you might get this feeling like they don't want to talk, but they really do. They do. With that, Allison, should I add anything else, or I'm going to hand it off to you?
No, I think that's great. I think that's great. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Always takes longer than I expect it to when I share my screen. This is the Environmental Education Association of Indiana website. You've probably been to it since you're at the conference, but I just wanted we wanted to point out some of the parts that may be more useful to new members than anything else. So on the left-hand side, you see the menu here. I'm going to tag on to what Ann just said about kind of the introverts. Last year, I've been coming to the conference for quite a while now, but I still feel kind of new. I don't feel like I know everybody. And part of it is because people kind of, they know a couple people, and those are the people they hang out with, right? But nobody wants to be that way. We don't want other people to feel that way. So I think it's important for you to see who the board members are. So Stephanie. This is Leslie. Leslie has been in several sessions today. This is Jamie. Jamie works up north. This is Darcy. You can't see her face. Darcy's probably been associated with EEAI almost as long as any other board member. Here is Ann's beautiful face that you know. Jack is a science teacher, and he's kind of our connection to some of the science organizations. There's Sarah. You see her in our group here. Paul is a longtime member. I don't know how long Paul's been involved, but he is a computer engineer and just as a naturalist by heart, and has been here forever. There is me, super old picture. Mary is an environmental educator over at the celery bog. I never call it the right thing. Where's Mary? I can't remember the organization, but Mary has been an environmental educator for years and years, a wealth of knowledge. Mindy is at Zionsville Parks and Rec and is helping to plan this conference. So that's the board of directors. So if you do feel like you don't really have somebody to make a connection with, start with us. We are arms wide open and wanting to help you get connected to other people. So I want to go to a couple other spots that are maybe very helpful. Obviously, there's always a conference spot. This is usually updated actually quite early in the year. So when we start to plan the 2021 conference, actually that's already being planned, isn't it, Sarah? you'll start to see information there, and we'll have the keynote speakers and field trips and everything that goes along with it. Right here is the ELG, which is the Environmental Literacy Guidelines. This has a lot of information about what the ELG is, and a lot of states have an environmental literacy plan or environmental literacy guidelines. Minnesota may have theirs already. I think they do. This is kind of a timeline of how the ELG has worked and some of the talking points within that. It's a good thing to know about if you're just starting in environmental education. Elena, I think maybe you said that this is kind of a first area for you to be starting in. So that's an important part to maybe spend a few minutes. There's another part that has, let me find it, the resources. So if you go down to resources, you'll see lesson plans. This is a nice area, not only for people to find lesson plans, but for you to post them. If you have activities or lessons that are working particularly well, whether you are new in environmental education or not. Sometimes we get stuck in our old ways in EE, and we need new people who have good programs and good ideas to kind of write them down loosely and put them in here. Some of these are written more formally, and some of them are just kind of written just a couple paragraphs to tell you what to do outside. But here are some various opportunities there. And then these are some of the environmental education links too, which may be helpful for some of you who are starting new programs. Project Wet and Wild and Project Learning Tree are kind of they're kind of cornerstones of environmental education in many areas, but especially certainly in Indiana. So there's a lot of wonderful stuff right there. The last place I want to show you is the mentorship program that we have. So we found in the last couple of years that new people, I mean, we're all here to welcome you all, but sometimes it's hard if you get into environmental education, you're not sure how to navigate some of the trickiness of environmental ed or of administrative parts of environmental education. So this is an area where we can pair up new people to the field with people who have been in the field for a while. We have a couple partnerships right now that we started last year, but at any point you are welcome. This is my email address down here. You are welcome to email me. You include your name, your email address, and the organization, and whether you want to be a mentor or a mentee. And then we will partner you with somebody else. They may be in your geographic area, but they may not be. We may partner you for different reasons. It may be that they have experience in the area that you need help in. But it is not a big formal thing where you have to complete a bunch of activities together. It's basically, okay, this is my person. So if I have an issue or if I have something I need to talk through, this person is there specifically to help counsel me through things or to give me ideas, or I don't know how to Zoom and teach a nature program at the same time. Have you ever done this before? Tell me what to do. That's what this program is all about. So we hope that you will consider becoming a mentor or a mentee. And it doesn't mean that you've been in the business for a million years. You may just be really comfortable and feel good about being a mentor. And a mentee may have been in the business for 10 years and they still feel like they just need somebody to help guide them through some things. So let us know if that's something that is that feels right to you and something that would help you along. But we'll stop for just a second and just take questions from people. And we want to make sure that you all know that you're very, very, very much welcome. And we are excited to see you hopefully in person next year so that we can give you hugs. We're a very huggy group. So something you might have to get used to it.
Only if you're comfortable with it.
Yeah,
Now,
right.
Allison, did you mention ICANN or Indiana Children Nature Network?
No, that was dumb. Let me pull it back up.
There is another really big project EEAI is involved with.
Yeah, let's start with ICANN. And why don't you, Anne, describe ICANN quickly?
So the Environmental Education Association, we're working on making environmentally literate citizens throughout Indiana. And we have a lot of guidelines for, we have the ELG for schools. This is more of for families and children and getting kids outside. So it's another project of EEAI. It's loosely or really pretty closely inspired by Richard Louve's book, Last Child in the Woods, and his national network of CNN. But anyway, ICANN basically we've in the past had nature play days where we're trying to promote nature play days across the state. In addition to the nature play days, we were hosting quarterly brown bag lunches. So in your community, rather than waiting until the conference to be able to see anyone else who actually does what you do, we were trying to visit other, just having a brown bag lunch at somebody's facility. For instance, Stephanie hosted and we all went to the Eco Lab and had lunch, and then we got to walk around the Eco Lab. And if you were or Sarah hosted one at her park, and people just showed up and we'd have a brown bag, bring your own lunch, super easy, walk around that facility, and mostly it's a time just for networking and talking to other people. So I think those are the two major things ICANN is doing right now, but we're really working on promoting getting children outside. And that's another way of getting involved, is helping ICANN promote the nature play days, or hosting a brown bag lunch, or going to a brown bag lunch. Stephanie, have I missed anything else, or Sarah, regarding, or Sarah's not on the, now I'm getting all mixed up. Anyway, okay, now I'll mute myself again.
No, that's great. So that's a very short and sweet version of EEAI, and certainly the conference is oftentimes the only time we get to see each other. So as Anne said, it can sometimes be a little hard to get to know each other, but we hope you'll reach out to people, and certainly if you ever need somebody to buddy up with next year at the conference, go to a board member and start there, and we will hold you to our side and walk you through the first in-person conference, and hopefully you'll feel very at home with us. Are there questions that you have about EEAI or this conference in particular?
I see Allison's got a question about how do we get the Nature Play Day on our website. So this year was a little strange because we didn't really get to host them. Generally speaking, we have, you can email ICANN and they will put it on, or there's actually on the ICANN website, which links, there's a link from EEAI to the ICANN website. There's a whole page about the Nature Play Days, and there's a form to fill out, and it identifies how to get them on our website. We don't have any Nature Play Days listed now. We generally pick a week in June, and it's identified as our week of Nature Play Days, and we're trying to really push that. If you would like your facility listed as a resource or a location on the ICANN website, again, go to the ICANN website and email us, and then we'll get all that information on the website. I feel like I'm talking in circles, but basically email us.
So what defines a nature play day? I mean, I know what a nature play day is, but what does ICANN define a nature play? I didn't know if there has to be certain things that go on.
We just want the kids outside. The nature play days are so broad that it counts one facility, gosh, I think it was a firehouse. They parked the truck outside and asked the kids to come and wander around the truck. And it was listed as a nature play day during this 10-day period of time. So basically, a family could look during this 10-day period of time, look at a map and see all these different things that they could do with their children outside. So they could go to a library and read a book outside. They could go to the firehouse and check out the truck. They could go on a hike. They could go on a dog walk. Again, the ICANN website lists, you can get a whole list of what they've done in the past, but it's not very strict. We just want to get people outside. The idea was to have a nature play day in every single county across the state. And that was our goal first year. So we set it numerically and said we wanted to have at least 90 nature play days because we have just over 90 counties in Indiana. We surpassed that by 115 nature play days, but we didn't meet each county. Now, every year until this year, that number's increased. However, we're having trouble getting out into some of the counties. Like some places are having more and more, but we'd still like nature play days everywhere. So if you wanted to travel and go on a nature play day, you could go out somewhere else and see one.
Cool.
And it does not have to be a new event. It can be a current event you already have
Oh
scheduled.
yeah,
that is happening
absolutely.
at that time. So it doesn't have to be specifically created for this purpose.
No need to reinvent the wheel. We want to have a one-stop shop to help promote what's going on. And Allison put in the chats the link to the ICANN website. So great.
What
And
other
then
questions do you all have? Oh yeah, and Carla's got her her podcast episode too there. Are there other questions? Okay, we're wrapping. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, what time do the awards start? At 6:30?
They start at 6:30.
Okay.
Yeah. So
It was a
thank you all
pleasure
for
to meet
joining
you
us.
all.
Yeah, it was so nice to meet you. And Anne, I'm going to put my email address in the chat box. Do you want to put yours in the chat box real quick?
Sure.
Oops, that's not how you spell it. Sorry. Gmail. Reach out anytime if you have any questions about EEAI. You can, of course, reach us all by the website as well. But so glad to have you all here. And thank you for being a part of the new member welcome.
Thanks.
Thanks, everybody.
Take care.
See you tonight at the talent show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
Or-
you.
Thank you.